Hey, what's going on? I want to talk about the black economy. And I did the last video with the Black Panther hysteria. I still can't believe the hysteria surrounding this film. I mean, the usual Disney channels and everything. What I mean by channels is the avenues of delivering the propaganda, the marketing. ABC, ESPN, all Marvel related stuff, toys, their agents, their people who do blogging on the internet to hype the stuff up. And if you don't like it, they start hating on you. Not that I didn't say I didn't like the Black Panther, but when it came to that last Star Wars movie, which I didn't see because The Force Awakens turned me off, because I made sure I didn't throw any money at that, and I think a lot of people did too, even though I kind of knew the crowd was going to fall off drastically because, people been had by the first one, So you could fool some people. Apparently, they still fooled a whole lot of people. But I suspect with the reviews that the people gave this one, the next one will be even worse in performance because this one basically flopped. They say it's about to come out on 4K Blu-ray. I might get it. If I get it, I get it used. So that way you don't add more money, more sales numbers to it. Get it on eBay or Amazon used. But if I did, it would just be to check out the technology and that's it. Because it's coming in Dolby Vision. Even though no TVs are fully optimized for Dolby Vision right now. Because they're still using the old panels. That's why you'll never see it until they run out of the panels. Once they manufactured the old panels for the old technology, they're not going to just start making some new ones. They're just going to sell out what they got first. That's how business works, which leads me into what I'm talking about. Black economics, black business. Now, we've had many people who talk about black economics, black businesses, and how to build wealth, but they don't really mean what they say. And we already know some of the suspects got busted because they're full of shit. They're lying. And then you got others who go against them or act like they're against them. And you can see that they're building their black economy by clocking probably at least 500 a night when they go live. And, that's building her economy. Yeah, I don't have to say names now, but that's building her personal economy. And I'm sure she gets paid to speak. She's simply a YouTube personality. I don't know why they're paying her to speak. But mark my words, the homosexual angle will come out at some point in time. Mark my words on that. They're not just putting that out there, talking about everything else and trying to act like Dykin ain't what's going down. And it's not what she's trying to promote. Watch. You just watch. And after a while, we'll see how many dollars you people want to give when the narrative changes from your black ass to some actual black ass. You know what I mean? And we'll see what happens then. But, I guess some people you just have to wait and see when it hits, and then you'll be educated. But here's the thing. Like I told you, the basics of economics is this. If you have no money, you're not going to get any money. That's the basics. You don't need to go to school for that. All you need to do is use common sense. If you have no money, you can't build wealth. It takes money to make money, as they say. Now, I've done my things back in the days, even on internet situations. And I've been able to clock a lot of money. And, but then the technology changed rapidly, which kind of messed me up and kind of left me behind a little bit. So it kind of threw me out of the loop. So you have to keep up on that, So, and it took money to make money. I just couldn't get into it and start making money without money. You need the money. And how do you get the money? That's the question. See, this is what these jackasses that I can't stand, this is what they never tell you. How do you get the money? The traditional way, which is the preferred method for those who are in charge of the economy, they prefer you take a bank loan. Because then they own you. And they own your businesses. See, a lot of white people take loans. Because, they take mortgages out. They take loans for their businesses. But it takes a lot of money to pay the businesses back. That's why the banks will own your ass until you can turn great profits. And then there's the organized crime element of things as well. That's why I keep pointing out the Philly cheesesteak, Geno's, and the other one across the way when they, and places like those, pizza places, when they say, hey, the pizza, large, one topping, $11.50, or medium, small, whatever, $11.50, cash only, taxes included. You know what that's all about. Now, if we know what it's all about, we know what the IRS knows what it's all about. But of course, nobody's stopping them because they're in cahoots with certain people. That's why nobody's stopping them. That's part of the organized crime situation. Say what you want to say. You can see those guys there. You can see how they look. Come on, let's not play games. But they get away with this kind of stuff. So you can take loans. The banks own everything. And they're so sophisticated in the way they constructed the economy is that even if you take loans and pay it back, then, like with cars, let's take cars for example. You get a car loan. Pay it off after 5 years or whatever. Then the car is not quite running the same, and depending on how you take care of your things, may not be looking the same either. And new designs have come out by then. So, you may own it after a while, but it may not be running quite the same. But truth be told, if you work on your car yourself, sometimes you can get aftermarket tires, batteries, and all that kind of stuff. Actually have your car running better than what it was when you first got it, truth be told. Better brakes, better rotors, and all that kind of stuff. But you take a house or a business, you pay it off. Then they stranglehold you with taxes. You can't pay your taxes, then they seize your stuff. So you never truly own anything. They say you own land, but if you don't pay the taxes, they can seize the land. Then we know about eminent domain. They'll usually pay you fair market value for that property. But the point is, they can take it whenever they want to. And technically, you should be able to go to court to stop it. They'll let you put up an argument. But the truth is, when it comes down to it, most people are going to have to submit to the local government and give up your property. And they'll give you some money, but at the end of the day, what they have done is they have not only demonstrated that you don't own anything, is that they don't want you to own anything. They prefer that you have money in your hand than to own property. That's what it's all about. Because they can devalue the dollar or even eliminate the dollar at any time that they choose. And I know people don't believe it because you're like, okay, when I pull out this 20, it's worth something. I go buy a lottery ticket, they say I can win $20 million. Not 20 million credits, but see, that's a slick thing too. Now suppose they stopped the dollar or devalued it, then you're stuck. The agreement is you won $20 million. Now, if they stop making the dollar, then you're out of luck. I'm sure there might be some fine print to it, but that's how they can get you. So you gotta understand, man, the people who designed the economy, they designed it to benefit them and only them. In the end, see, they're so intelligent. It's designed to make people, even people with millions, think I got it going on. I don't have any worries in the world. But they can eliminate what you got anytime they want to. It's designed to make you feel that way. So you keep playing into the system, and you don't realize after a while, it can all be taken away. You don't really own anything, truth be told. The only thing you own are the clothes you bought, the food you ate, and little trinkets. That's the truth. That's it. Even cars, you can say, once you paid it off, or paid for it in full to begin with, you can say you own it. But the laws are so funny. It's all about control, man. You can own it, but they can do things to make sure that you can't drive it legally. You can drive it, but if you get caught by the police, that's why they keep updating police equipment to scan license plates quickly, so they can see what's up with you. It's all about control. So you can own the car, but they can create things to make it so that you can't drive it legally. They can make it so that you can't register the car for whatever reason. And they make sure that you have to carry insurance. I mean, technically you shouldn't have to carry insurance, and you shouldn't have to pay somebody. If you have to pay somebody, then they should make it so that there's a certain insurance that anybody can pay for that's cheap. But of course, what that does is that forces you to pay insurance companies. They say it's for your safety, of course. And in case there are a lot of people who drive cars that's not insured still. So that doesn't insure too much, the truth be told. But what it does is it makes sure that insurance companies get a minimum amount of money per month from everybody who drives, except illegals. Illegals don't really have to pay shit. It's the same in some municipalities. You have utility companies. You might have electric and gas or something like that, and there might be a company that owns an electric and a gas company. I mean, and what they might do is when your electric is down, they raise your gas bill. Your gas, and that's usually like gas, obviously, in the wintertime. You're going to spend more on gas for heat and cooking and hot showers. So they'll raise the gas bill. It'll go up naturally anyways, but they'll raise that, lower the electric, and then in the summertime, raise your electric, lower your gas. Even if you turn everything off in your home that takes electric. This is what they do. It's all slick. It's all a system, man. I mean, it's just crazy. But this is what they do. So you never really own anything. You just think you own it. Same thing with entertainers. You think you own whatever you created. You look at entertainer after entertainer, especially the black ones, because they usually start off poor or not so rich and not in a structural family business unit where they can't be fucked and pushed around with, you know? So what they do, they treat you in the limo, get you a taste of the lifestyles of the rich and famous, and they love to get you hooked on drugs if you're not already. And then you start making your music, your acting, or whatever. Music biz is hard these days. That's why they keep a select few puppets out there to make it look like everybody's still getting rich. People just aren't getting money like that anymore. But let's say they give you a loan. I think I explained this in the video. I think I should have put it up if it's not up already. The one with Snoop Dogg or T.I. on the picture, I think. I think that was what that one was about. But bottom line is they get you used to the money, but then they don't mind giving you the money. They just don't want to give you enough money so you can be a shot caller. You know? And those who are supposedly worth $500 million, black people, you don't see them doing anything but being in the public eye. Jay-Z, Beyonce, those are one of their main puppets. That's all you do is see them in the public eye. Still on award show. If they had been anybody else, they would have been long played out. But them, Kevin Hart, DJ Khaled, Snoop Dogg, Nas, all these puppets, they just keep them in the limelight. That's why it's the same puppets. That's why people don't watch the award shows anymore, because it's the low down motherfuckers on there all the time. And you just get tired of them. You know? So, you know, they just keep up the illusion of wealth. How come these guys never own anything? If they do own something, it's always hip hop related, so to speak. Clothing line that doesn't seem to last long. Liquor. You know, small things like that. How come they don't get into putting their money together and launching an automobile? If they do launch something that's fairly decent or big, it's in conjunction with some other company that already exists, and they're just really using their name to sell the product or to license their name to sell the product. So that's not cool. So that's not a good economy. Then we talk about the Black Panther, like I was just talking about. A lot of black people getting excited. Oh man, this can open the door for more black movies. If you notice, every other decade they have black films. You know, they have a focus on black people, but this time it's different. Like I said, I was doing my little research. Obviously, if you grew up in the 60s, you should know about a lot of the movies, but since I haven't seen a lot of these movies that I was researching, like The Cool World, what's the other one? The Connection. Damn, what was the other one? The one that was in, damn, I forgot the name of that movie. Trick Baby, I think. Yeah, the one that, the black guy with the mustache that was in Trick Baby. That was from the early 60s. But there were a decent amount of black films in the 60s that I'm discovering, but I never recall seeing them on TV. It's like I got to keep on hunting them down based on the actor. You know, it's just crazy. But those movies, from what I can gather, they weren't emphasized in the 60s. And the only reason I gather that is because, shit, I never heard of them until like 5 years ago, really. Because I was just checking out some of the people who were in the blaxploitation films, and I kept wondering, you know, how they decide to get into acting, and how do they think they can get something in acting? And did they start in the 70s? But a lot of these guys started in the 60s. Some started in the 50s. And when we talk about this, some talk about the Sidney Poitier. And again, I keep telling you, the Caribbeans, for some reason, you see who looked good during that period. Who was the star? Caribbean man. But see, black Americans, they don't make us look good like that. So, I mean, you think about the 70s, who was the star that was black American? It was the former football players, Jim Brown, Bernie Casey, and Fred Williamson. And, you know, that's basically who you got. So, I mean, it's just kind of crazy, man. But in the 70s, of course, you know, you had your blaxploitation films. Then in the 80s, what are the films? The blaxploitation just suddenly came to an end. Now, of course, the power structure has their excuses, like, okay, we got the blockbusters back on point, and more money is being made. It's not about the money, I keep telling you. Black people keep thinking it's about the money because we don't have the money. But when another group owns the money, they created the money. They don't need the money. The money is just the means to control and put everybody else in check. They want the assets. They want the propaganda. Movies is propaganda. It could be positive propaganda or negative propaganda, but they're not often, they are always putting out propaganda in film, TV, politics, everywhere you can think of that gets the word out. In addition to the actual story, whether it's based on a true story or not. Even the movie Malcolm X had its propaganda. Especially you saw that towards the end. With the I am Malcolm X, all that. That was propaganda that Spike Lee wanted to put out. So, you know, it's not about the positivity thing. It's about propaganda. That's why in the 80s, you went from the blaxploitation to you look at countless 80s movies, particularly in the early 80s to, I'm guessing around 88, 89. You'll see movie after movie. Black people are stereotyped like crazy, so it's like a regression. It went from black power, black exploitation films to black people being called nigger in practically every film and put down and made a fool. And Robert Townsend came out with the Hollywood Shuffle. Matter of fact, I think that came on Blu-ray. I gotta get that shit. I think the prices should be low enough now. I know that's a shame, but goddamn it, when they lower prices to a certain price, man, you know, you kind of get used to the shit, and that's the price you want it at. But if I find it at the right price, I gotta get my hands on that, because Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, you know, they were going through that in Hollywood. Pimps, hoes, hustlers, players. That's their 1980s experience. I think they probably had started in the 70s too, because you can see Keenan Ivory Wayans in Star 80, which I was kind of shocked. I saw him, I'm like, God damn, my man goes way back. So I'm sure he might have been in a 70s movie for all I know. But now Robert Townsend really goes way back, because he was in 70s movies. I forgot which one it was, but he was in 70s movies. I'm like, damn. People worked hard from the bottom to get up to the top, man. But in Robert Townsend, I give it to him, man. My man did a lot of positive stuff, you know. And I'd like to see him, you know, I don't know what he's doing now, but I'd like to see him come back, or at least influence. So that's the thing. If you're not doing nothing now, at least get you an apprentice to come up after you to carry out what you've been doing. That's what a lot of black people fail to do. We just come up, do what we do. We're not planning for the future. You got to have people to take over, because after a while, people will die, you know? But the Hollywood Shuffle, excellent film, classic film, to show you what they do in Hollywood and the images they want of black people. And the way that the producers, no matter what, they want black people to play a certain role, even today. But now they changed it to Africans and British. And they're getting black Americans put in the unemployment line, except for very few of them. I guess because British and Africans are more obedient and they're more desperate. And they're like, well, they're calling on us. You know how it is. You start giving people rewards. They start becoming arrogant after a while. They're like, well, they're calling on us. That means they don't like you. I'm taking it. I want this money. That's why these Africans and these Caribbeans will play coon roles and slavery and all this kind of stuff. But again, Hollywood Shuffle. If you're unaware of it, get that. And Hollywood hasn't changed because the players haven't changed. But it's propaganda and stereotypes. So the 80s, they had all these pimp out movies and all that kind of stuff. These gang movies, these movies where blacks are in partners with whites to sell, even in Trading Places. I was just watching that again the other day. Still a classic, but even with that movie, Eddie Murphy had to be called a nigger in the movie. And they had him playing an African. And they insult him at the same time by having Dan Aykroyd play a Jamaican in blackface. See, they got slick. That's why they had Eddie Murphy play an African and Dan Aykroyd play a Jamaican in blackface. So that way you can say, oh, they're both making fun of something that they're both not. Say what you want to say out of that. So in the 90s, you had the resurgence. The In Living Color show, you know, it was black everything in the 90s. Black music, black positive African style music or whatever, rap music. Then in the 2000s, you know, first in the 90s, you had Biggie and Tupac getting killed. Rappers claim to want to be positive after that, but all they did was just start mafioso stuff, killing in the records and all that stuff, and we still have that up to today. In the 2000s, that's all it was. Violence, sex, craziness. Now we're 8 years into this decade, and this decade is almost over, which is crazy as hell, man. But but you see now they're trying to. This is the decade of, I guess you call this the 20 teens. This is the decade where black Americans started getting replaced by foreigners. And they keep selling it off as us. Now, on the one hand, you can say, hey, it's good because at least black people are getting darker. But on the other hand, these are foreigners. They're not only playing themselves, but they're playing us. You mean to tell me they can't hire a black person in Hollywood cheaper than a fucking import to play a role in a movie? You mean to tell me they can't find that? When you watch those TV One shows, the Fatal Attractions and all that, I'm sure those people don't get paid that much. You see, they keep finding these guys someplace. I mean, come on. This is why you need your own production company. I'm getting to the economics too. I'm not forgetting about that. Sometimes I do have a tendency to run on long sometimes, but not long-winded saying about nothing. No, I can tell you that. But this is why we need our own production company to make some movies. Even if you're making, you can use a Tyler Perry model. But if Tyler Perry had better quality, but he shoots his shit up so quick, writes them up so fast to pop them out like trauma movies or some other B movies. If he upped the quality, I mean, that'll go a long way. I swear to you. If the man, he could probably keep directing. I think I said this on another video. He could probably keep directing. But if he found another writer, more talented, more interesting, even myself, I can guarantee you that'll be an uptick in his quality. I'll even let him continue to direct. But truth be told, my man you don't have to get the best directors out there. You can just get you some talented directors, because nobody's going to hire a director if you haven't seen their works. So you can see what they've been doing. Hire them. That'll up your quality, man. And then you can keep churning out movies of better quality, because different directors, they bring different abilities out of the actors. Some people maximize the actors, and some people just let the actors do what they do. So now we're entering the age of the African and foreigners playing us. And a lot of Negroes get excited about the Black Panther, and I think that's the wrong way to go, because what you're doing is you're cheering on black people in Hollywood getting unemployment. That's what you're cheering on. See, in this movie, Coogler had his hands tied behind his back. And what I mean by this is, even if he wanted to get American actors, the excuse was, it's about Africa, get some Africans. See? And sometimes they would do that for slave movies too. But see, the black Americans, this is America now. You got to keep that in mind. This isn't the United Kingdom. This is in Africa. Want some Africans, you can see some foreign films. But this is the excuse to get some foreign acts. I don't know what Peele did for that actor in Get Out. I don't know why he got him. Maybe I'll look into that. But again, that's an actor, black actor being unemployed. These are things you got to think about. If you're not thinking about it, these actors are certainly thinking about it, man, because you see all the movies they could have had. But if you own your own shit, Tyler Perry, he can really diversify his portfolio, because he has the apparatus to get some shit into production. But it's just that he has quantity over quality. That's his problem. But it's enough to get him paid, but all his shit looks kind of similar, you know what I mean? Because he's behind all of it. That's the problem. You got to get some directors and some writers on some shit, man. And I heard he doesn't like to pay too much, but That's where we're at in the movies. And back to everything as far as the economy. Again, this all ties in because if you don't own things, something, you can't control the direction of what it is. East Indians, they are owning shit. I'm telling you, they don't brag about what they have, but they got millions and billions. That's why they're proud to stick with each other. You know? Indians are supposed to be good at math, but shit, I admit, man, I cashed in a $25 lottery ticket. Then I put 15 on the gas pump. And, you know, I was expecting to get $10 back. But the man gave me 15 back. Of course, I didn't say nothing. Shit, I mean, that's his mistake, you know? That's how I look at it. So I took the money and made sure I got the hell up out of there. I didn't even look at the money because I didn't want my man to look at the money either, you know? But I glanced at it and I knew what the fuck he gave me. So I'm like, damn, Indian not good at math. God damn, what is the world coming to? I'm kind of shocked because that's the most basic math. You know, they're supposed to be very good at math and numbers. So that's shocking. But I look at it like this. Hey, man, that's his loss. My gain. I know some people might say, hey, that's dishonest. That ain't dishonest. That's his mistake. So, shit. But, they own gas stations. They own Popeyes. They own Dunkin' Donuts. Bakeries, you know, that distribute the donuts to the Dunkin' Donuts. Because they don't make them on their own, by the way, in case you didn't know that. That's why most Dunkin' Donuts, you go from one spot to the next. That's why they don't have the same donuts. Because they don't make them, they get them delivered. Sometimes you can catch them delivering those shits in the morning. But that's what Indians have. They have the Popeyes. And I don't like what they did to the Popeyes. I don't know if they outright own the whole thing or not, but they own a whole lot of local chains. And sometimes I might read into things and I see that they invest about $2.3 million into buying a piece of land or something like that and putting up a new fast food restaurant. So this is what they're doing. They have this kind of money, this kind of capital they're working with. They own shit. We don't operate as a group. And part of the reason we don't operate as a group is because we don't see ourselves as a group. We have too many people trying to call us African. And when you do that, or Caribbean, and when you do that, what you're doing is you're now focusing attention on another group instead of yourself. And that's the problem. You take away the focus from you and you focus on somebody else. And you help them do their thing, even though they're not helping you do your thing. And what their thing is not helping you. It's helping them. That is the problem. Caribbeans. Some people try to say I hate. It's not hate. I mean, you never heard me say I hated anybody. But I'm just pointing out the facts. You go to a Jamaican spot, who's hired? Jamaicans. You don't see black Americans hired. You go to a Haitian spot, nothing but Haitians. They're countrymen. Dominicans. Told you about the White Castles. I'm going to give you the addresses. One in Yonkers, New York, North Broadway. Dominicans are in control of the management. Who do you see hired most? Dominicans. There's a White Castle, Post Road in the Bronx, next to Pelham. What do you see? Jamaicans. They're in control. Who's hired in most of that? Jamaicans. There's White Castle in Nanuet, New York. That's a more diverse cast of employees. Because they have some Russians, Asians, all that kind of stuff. But it's mainly Haitians. Because they're the ones running that one. I think the last one, they had a Puerto Rican manager. She traveled from the Bronx to Nanuet to manage. But she had a big ass too, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. They hire others, but they're not hiring you. So this is why we as Black Americans have to get our own. We have to focus on our own. And every time somebody talks that African talk, we have to shy away from it. If they try to force it on you, you have to think to yourself, why are they trying to force this African shit on me? I'm not African. I can't claim that. But I am a Black American. I can claim that. How come nobody wants me to claim that? How come nobody wants me to help my people? How come nobody wants us to succeed as a group? These are questions you have to ask yourselves. And more importantly, and I think I may have said it in the last video, if we get reparations and you start including these others, they might get some of those reparations that they don't deserve either. And then you'll really be pissed. Like I said, if they have a pool of $17 billion in reparations, you got to apply for it. And these others are, hey, I'm Black. Let me get it. And they get it, you're going to be pissed off because that's less than you could have gotten. Well, people, that's the same thing when it comes to these jobs in Hollywood and jobs in general in the United States. When immigrants come here, they're taking it from you. That's less opportunity for you, more opportunity for them. And it's designed that way. Now, to me, when we get equal opportunity to do whatever, that's when I can buy into this oneness BS. But other than that, we're the victims. And that's right, victimhood. You can't be have victimhood without being a goddamn victim. And if any Black person doesn't understand that, then you need to step away from us. That's the way I look at it. You know, because a lot of Black people use that victimhood thing, the victim mentality. They act like that's the only thing people are thinking of. Oh, woe is me, I'm a victim. I can't do this. Well, I mean, there are some people who think like that. I can't do this, I can't do that because of this, because of that. Whatever it is you're thinking about, keep trying to do it. Like me, I keep trying to do whatever. But I'm still going to talk about the reality. Doesn't mean we're not being victimized. Come on, we got to get real with this. I mean, if we're not victims, then what are we? You know, because a lot of Black people out here, at least they claim they got it made. But what are they doing to prevent Black people from being victims? What I hear is Black people who own something and can employ Black people. What I hear is they say, well, I try to give Black people an opportunity, but they're always complaining, not showing up on time, not acting right, so on, so forth. So that means you give up? Why don't you keep worrying, keep finding, keep looking for the right Black person who does want to get it together? But a lot of times you're not trying to find those Black people, you're just looking for excuses. Because I can guarantee you there are a lot of loyal Black people out there looking to get a career going, looking for a good life, you know? But I prefer you hire Black Americans first. Because not to say that you won't find Caribbeans that are looking for the same thing and will do the right thing, but I'm saying you gotta, just like everybody else that comes to this country, the first people they're looking out for are their countrymen, their people. You know? And when I talk this talk, Caribbeans and Africans, mainly it's the Caribbeans, not really the Africans, because I keep telling you, the Africans aren't really with us to begin with. You know? They're only with us when it benefits them. Then they'll talk that. Matter of fact, I don't even think they still talk that Black talk. They mainly talk that African talk. I rarely hear the Africans say I'm Black. I rarely hear that. I hear the Caribbeans say it. And they say it to get into your world, our world, and then sedate your mind with this Caribbean, Pan-African, we're all Black shit. See, me, I need you to show me that we're all Black. You know, it's just like this female I was dealing with. You know, she keeps saying, oh, I love you. And I say, okay, cool. I mean, some people might say, damn. But I'm like, that's cool. But she says it not to say it, not to tell me how she feels. She says it because she's waiting for me to say something, the same thing. And I'm an honest guy. I don't like to play around with people's emotions. So I don't say anything. I'm not even gonna try and lead anybody on and try to BS people. I just don't like doing that. So I don't say anything. I don't say, oh, well, I don't love you. I don't say that. I don't say I do love you. I just don't say anything. I just say, hey, man, your actions to me show me the opposite of that. So, the actions speak louder than words. And that's what it is with these Caribbeans in these jobs and these Africans in these jobs. They speak that we're all black talk, but I need to see the action. See, we're all black when the Caribbeans want to argue. They want to get out and scream and yell, go with the Israelites, go with the church and start screaming and yelling, talking about the black man, the white man, the black man, the racism. That's when we're all black. But when it comes to economic opportunity and collaborating with each other economically, then they're Jamaican, they're Haitian, they're Dominican, they're Puerto Rican. That's what they are when it comes to economic success and the group's elevation in the United States. Then we're all separate. That's why I say we have to stay away from them till we get our shit together and start owning shit. Then we can unite with them, because right now they're the ones with the stuff. We're the ones with the talent, but we're not getting anything out of it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm trying to set up an apparatus similar to like a Tyler Perry, where you can just pump the shit out, where we can all buy into ourselves. And it's not about investments. Technically it is in the long run, but that's not what it's about. It's about making sure that we stay together and invest in ourselves, so that we all have an apparatus as Black America that we can jump into and get us some help whenever we need the help, and work together whenever we need to work together. Because that's what other groups do. We don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. It's already in front of our faces. It's just that we have to get to it. We have to stop being distracted by Pan-Africanism, African stuff, and all that craziness, because let Africans deal with Pan-Africanism, even though that's not their thing. So that's why they don't really deal with that. So again, economically speaking, like I said, you could take loans from a bank, or if you have money, period, then of course you can own something, you can invest something. The smallest thing I could say that you could actually try and own might be a condo. I think I said this in a video before too. There are plenty of cheap condos out there. Depending on your economic status, you can buy you a condo. Even if you don't have excess cash flow, if you can manage to buy you a cheap, because I've seen some condos in some places, you can look at different states, neighboring states, wherever you might be at, probably get some for $50,000, $75,000. But you got to factor in the condo fees, of course, and obviously that's another way that they keep Black people out of things. Is you could probably find a cheap condo, then the condo fees could be whatever the fuck they want them to be. It'll be high enough to keep you out. Because trust me, they factor all of this in, because they control the economy. They control where you work at most of the time. They know what you make, so they can price you out. That's how it works. But they don't price the Indian out. They don't price the Chinese, the Asians out. It's like they can do what they want to do. It's like the white man says, I don't mind them doing what they want to do, but I don't want you to do what you want to do. Again, that's the mystery. To help solve this mystery and do our own thing. See, this is the thing. If we stayed away from others and did our thing, and we built our shit up, stopped the violence too, lowered the violence, and we're not the main perpetrators of Black violence, by the way. But if we stop the violence and got everything up, got more respect, then things will change. I can guarantee you. But weed, we gotta lay off the weed. Too many black guys, man, they just smoke weed before they go to work. They're so into smoking the weed, man, that they forget that they smell like they just smoked the weed, man. I mean, how can you be going to work? Yeah, some guys go to a warehouse job and they think that they won't get fired because, hey, I'm here doing the job. Shit, why are you worried about if I'm smoking the weed or not? Why? Because if you work at a warehouse, that means if you're smoking weed, doing drugs, that means you're more likely to want to steal to get you some weed. So you get fired. But a lot of black guys, they do this, then they get mad, man. Damn, motherfuckers fired me. Why? That's the problem with black people, man. Think you could do what you want to do. No structure, no accountability. You need structure. You look at the Chinese, man. Over 1 billion people. Not to say everybody is structured, because every society, you got your thugs, you got your child rapists, you got your low-down individuals. People who don't want to be controlled. But that's a structured society, more or less. But then there are sub-societies in China that are not Han Chinese. They have their own substructure, but they still adhere to the main government, even though the government kind of uses force, you know. But my point is, you need structure. You just can't run wild. That's what I'm trying to do, create a group of structure. And I hate to say it, sometimes you gotta get people in line too, to get on board with the structure. Unfortunately, that has to happen. So, when it comes to the black economics, black economy, loans, you can buy your little condo, buy it enough that either you can live in it, pay it off, then go rent you out a place and live, then rent out the condo. Or, depending on what happened with the development in the condo, you could probably sell it and get you a profit. But it's better to rent it out, start yourself, get your feet wet in real estate that way. That's the smallest, lower risk way of getting into real estate. Then you can build it up from there. A lot of others have a little more money. They can buy a 3-family house and rent that out. See, sometimes it's better to keep that income coming in than to sell the house altogether. Usually 1-family houses, you get better return on that. Those 3-family homes in within the cities, it's better to just rent those shits out. And if you can buy up the whole block after a while, so be it, even better. Then you can renovate the whole block and increase the value exponentially. So that's one way, but the cheapest or the best way, since a lot of black people can't trust each other, but you notice how black people can get together when it comes to crime. We can get together, pool drug dealing monies together. We could pull bank heist monies together and all that kind of stuff and try and do business. But when it comes to starting legit businesses with contracts and stuff, black people are like, nah, man, I can't do that. I ain't got time for that. Nobody wants to be held accountable with the contract. So they don't want to get into that. And then some black people, even if they have a contract, they like to default saying, fuck it, take me to court. I don't give a damn. I ain't paying nothing. Then your credit gets ruined and you can't do nothing anyway. So, it's crazy. But the other thing you could do, if you don't trust others, and I know a lot of us can't trust our family, but start with your family. Start in a business. Because again, time and time again, like I said, with these gas stations, these Popeyes, these East Indians, they don't give a damn. They will wear the Popeyes uniform. They will wear the Mobile uniform. They don't care. 7-Eleven. They don't give a damn. Black people have to stop giving a damn, because as long as they know they own the shit and they keep bringing in their own people to level up, they don't give a fuck with how silly they look, as long as they getting that money. That's why you don't see East Indians living next door to you. You see them in the white man's neighborhood. In this particular gas station, this guy that gave me the 15, he was new. I never saw the guy before. That's probably why he made the mistake. I wish he would have made a bigger mistake, but shit, he made the mistake anyways. But the other guys they had were Indian employees, and there's another Indian guy. So when they keep bringing new people in, they're bringing their own people in. The only time I see them hiring African-style blacks is at places where they figure that it's a better sell, which are at Popeyes. You know? Because it's fried chicken, that's why. But even then, they'll hire Jamaicans or Africans first. That's just what they do, man. That's why you got to get your own, because everybody else is benefiting but us. We have to stop acting as individuals and act as a group. And part of the reason we can't act as a group is because of this African shit, this Afrocentrism, trying to make it call everybody an African and shit. Man, we got to stop that shit. Africans don't do that all the time. You know, we got to stop this shit. Black America, this is our country. We're not in another country. These others came to this country to make it happen. They didn't make it happen in their country. How come they can't make it happen in their country? But they can come here and make it happen. We got to worry about making it happen in here for us. And we got to stop allowing people to make it happen off of us. We have to stop that. We got to get hardcore, man. When these people want to get next to you, get away from them. If you can find you an East Indian to marry, I say do it. Because that's coming up. At least you can learn some of their techniques. But of course, they usually don't marry outsiders. They like keeping it to themselves. But I'd advise you to do that, even if you have to sacrifice and get you a not so sexy looking East Indian woman. As long as you can get in there and get some techniques and learn it, I'd advise you to do that. Like where I'm at, there's this East Indian. She got a nice Benz that she just bought. She's not ugly, but she's not the first choice. But I'm saying, you know, that's something to look into. Something like that. You know what I mean? This is what you got to do, man. I hate to say it, but you got to stay away from. This is what people used to tell me all the time, man. Stay away from low budget women. I hate to say it, but that's what they were saying. But see, me, I used to say, man, I don't care what their economic status is. Shit, if the girl is cute, works at McDonald's, so be it. But after a while, I learned that he was right about that. You know, rich people, if you notice, they stick with each other because they don't want others coming up, or others who may not be as educated coming in and getting a little bit of money. Even the Bush family, they had to marry up. And then they started marrying across with other rich people. George H.W. Bush, he married, what's her name? Damn, Barbara Bush. George Bush was living in Greenwich, Connecticut. And Barbara Bush is living in Rye, New York. They border each other. Both rich towns. See, that's how they met. And his father, he wasn't as rich, then he married into a rich family. That's how the shit began. But see, they took it to the next level. We got to do that as a group, man. I'm not saying poor, you have to abandon the poor, but that's why I say marry. The poor people have to marry each other, man. I know when you're younger, you're gonna, you know, what do they say? It's, Royal Oats or something like that. That's what they say. In other words, you got to get it in, experiment, and see what's up. But, you know, that happens, but at the same time, others get married in the structure, man. I keep telling you. Like the other day at this rest stop, man, I saw this East Indian lady. She was plump, but she had some big ass titties. And she was cute as hell. I saw one daughter. I was about to say something. Then I saw one daughter, went to the bathroom, came out, saw two more kids. I was like, shit, there might be more in the car. So I said, shit, I guess that's a done deal. She didn't look poor either. She looked like she had some money. Like, when you see East Indians looking like they have money, that means they have a whole lot of money. Because, like I tell you, they'll dress down. They have millions in the bank, but they'll dress down. Black people got to learn to do this group economics. Start with your family at least and get a business going. Because I told you when I used to talk to some East Indians, because they're not going to volunteer any information. And you can't directly ask them because they're going to play stupid. They're not even going to talk. They're going to act like they don't know English. But if you're around them long enough and you play stupid and you try to not ask them directly, but, do like white people do. Oh, man, this is remarkable, man. Oh, man, this is fascinating, man. You really, I like your style, man. And then after a while, you gas their head up a little bit and they'll still think that you're a dummy. And then they might divulge something thinking that, well, this person will never be able to do this. So maybe I'll tell them this and brag a little bit, show them how we do it. Well, one East Indian guy did that to me, former co-worker. Like I said, I think I brought this up again before. He was bragging about a house he was purchasing. And he showed me the paperwork. I'm saying to myself, I don't know why the man wanted to bring the paperwork into the store and everything. Doesn't make any sense. But he did. I just couldn't understand it. But he said, one thing he told me is they all put their money together and got the house. So I think a lot of times black people think, well, maybe it's just me. I want to own the house on my own. See, a house is an investment. Whether it's like a business or an inheritance, whatever you got, whatever you put in, that's what you got in it. You get out of it. So you can get you a house. You can get you a business. If you don't have the money on your own, work with your family. Now, I know we all have family members. Some might earn a whole lot more than the others. And they might say, well, I ain't going to put all this in if you only putting that in. And so you can get something. We all got people like that. Those kind of people, you got to relax, man. You got to think of the bigger picture, not the smaller, greedy, selfish picture. Greed and selfishness is a part of the problem. We really have to really think, if we all help each other in the short run, it'll work out better for all of us in the long run. That's how other groups think about it, because they know when they come here, they have to start off small and build it up. Others who already came here before them built it up. So when their new immigrants come here, they know they have to start off small, being a cashier, cleaning up, doing that kind of thing. And they know because their group put them on, no interviews necessary. They know after a while they will move up. See, when we go to work for the white man or somebody, well, mainly the white man because nobody else is really hiring us, we have to hope and pray that we move up. And we're not always going to move up. We know that white people are going to move up before us. We know that Hispanics are going to move up before us because they use the excuse that we're looking for somebody who's bilingual. It's always bilingual with Spanish, but never bilingual with some Indian language or some Chinese or some shit like that. That's another thing you got to question. But once you do all this, man, it can work out. You just have to have patience, and you can't be greedy, and you can't be thinking about me and only me. It's like a sports team. Let's take football. You might have the guy who could get paid a lot. He's thinking about himself. Well, I'll take most of the money because I want most of the money. They're giving it to me. I'll take it. You could do that, and you could be the way the Detroit Lions are. You can get all the money, but you're not going anywhere. You can get all the money, or you could be like the Cleveland Browns. Or you could be like Tom Brady, take less, and then everybody wins. And of course, You might take less money, but you're seen as the top man. So your role will eventually come through. Because you think of how many different people played on the Patriots since Tom Brady came out. They got their shine. Once the team wins, people are going to get their shine. Other people won Super Bowl MVP from the Patriots. So they got their shine. Tom Brady's eventually going to get his shine again, and always will. And his shine will come in the form of the Hall of Fame as well. So this is the thing. You just have to buy in as a team. Once you buy in as a team and say, okay, I'm not going to be as greedy, but I can still get paid out of what I'm doing, and we all shine. And then after a while, I could break off and do my own thing as an individual. But if we show each other the ropes, then they bring in the next man and the next man and the next woman and so on and so forth. Then we create a system that makes us become prosperous and successful in this country. And we don't have to rely on anybody else. Like I said, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, whatever you own in this country, the system by a few, created by a few, the economy is designed to benefit only that group. Doesn't matter how many years it takes. It's designed for them and only them. And they can take it. They can find different ways to take it from you. But in the meantime, you got what you got. But historically, even during war, after war, there have been royal families of different countries who have been conquered. They had their stuff taken from them. They still get some of the courtesy of being rich, having a title, but not having a kingdom. Because, that's a common courtesy. And you could do the research on a lot of these lost princes and kings and monarchies who are living in other people's countries without a kingdom for various reasons. But as a group, I'm telling you, that's the only way, man. We got to stop talking. We got to start doing. Doing is what the hell I'm trying to do. Now, I appreciate the donations I've been getting, but they're few and far between, and they're not enough to really get it going. And, that's the only thing that pisses me off a little bit, man. Like, I swear, man, if I had the donations that others had, I swear to you, I would get this shit popping. And you got to put a lot of black people to the test, not for necessarily for the donations, but once you set this shit up, you got to keep testing them, just like corporations test their employees all the time to make sure that they know what they know. You got to make sure that people are who they say they are and they're trying to do what it is that they claim that they want to do. You have to do this. And that's the only way we're going to get out of it, man. That's the only way. You can keep waiting for the government. So that's the other thing people keep training us on, is waiting for the government or waiting for the man to come out of the sky. Like I always say, if the man is 2018 years late to pick you up to take you to work, you're already dead. If he's that late, chances are pretty good that he's not coming. Because you had people over 2,000 years saying that he's coming. Wait till he comes. See, people want you to wait until some mythical individual comes. They're basically telling you, don't do anything. That's why you don't see the Chinese, you don't see the East Indians and all these others saying, let's wait until Jesus comes. Then we can do it. Nobody else is waiting for him. Even the ones who claim to be about Jesus. The white man claims to be about Jesus. He's not waiting for him to come. So you got to stop this, man. If you want to get somewhere, you have to make it happen. The church, they're not waiting for Jesus to come. They say, hey, man, you're in session, you're in church, give up that money. I bet you if you told the pastor, the deacon, the preacher at the church, when Jesus comes, I'm giving up that money. So I'll wait. I'll wait until then. He's going to be like, man, you better give up that motherfucking money. because they know they're not going to wait for Jesus to come back before you give up that money, because they know Jesus is not coming back. So I'd advise, matter of fact, I know a lot of you wouldn't do that, but I'd advise a lot of you to do that just to be funny and see what they say. But yeah, you have to make it happen, man. It's just like these movies. You talk about the Black Panther. They were talking about it for years, but as long as they kept talking about it, nobody ever saw it. But until they actually started doing it and did it, that's when you see it and you see the end result. And most of you seem to love the end result. So you have to make it happen. You can't imagine it. You can't be wishing on it. You can't hope and pray on it. You got to go out there and make it happen. And like I said, you can start with your own family. That's what the East Indians do. That's what the Chinese do. Then they bring their own countrymen in. They keep bringing them in, keep building them up, building their population up, building everybody's wealth up, and that gains everybody's trust. And of course, it positions you as an economic powerhouse. But of course, I'm sure, given their home countries, there's a lot more to it than just building up the people's wealth for being well off in the United States. I'm sure there's some other subversive reasonings for all this as well. But hey, that's for the white man to worry about and take care of when the time comes.